Welcome to my new segment, Top 5 Funniest Political Fails of the Week. It was hard to choose since apparently now we live in clown world where everything is ridiculous, but here's the top 5. Rapper Cardi B took to Twitter to talk about how much she loves Bernie Sanders and how we missed the opportunity as America to vote for him in 2016, which is very, very strange and mind-boggling since here's her within the last year asking what the government's doing with her taxpayer money.
All right, so the government is taking 40% of my taxes, and Uncle Sam, I want to know what you're doing with tax money, because you know what I'm saying, because I'm from New York and the streets is always dirty. We was voted the dirtiest city in America. What is y'all doing? There's still rats on the damn trains. I know y'all not spending it in no damn prison.
It's actually a great question. What is government doing with our taxpayer money? A lot of ridiculous and backward stuff, a lot of very unproductive stuff because they just keep taking more and more of our money. It's absolutely true, which is why it's very strange to support a candidate who's going to steal millions more from you and give it to, you guessed it, the federal government. So now, thanks to President Trump, income tax is actually down to 37% in your bracket. Here's what your tax bracket would look like under President Bernie Sanders. It would be up to 50.2% for income tax and 54.2% if you make over $10 million a year. That's not including payroll tax and capital gains tax, which would skyrocket up to 50 and 60%. So if you really, really don't want to give your money to the federal government, which you shouldn't want to do, nobody should want to take their money that they work for and give it to the federal government. As a New Yorker, Cardi B, you already pay the highest income taxes in the United States, and it's obviously not working there. People like Bernie Sanders tell you, even though the government already gets too much money, even though we already have money, give us more of your money. Let me take millions of your dollars more, Cardi B, a year, and I'm somehow going to make the federal government work. It's a joke. Love you, Cardi B. Take your saved earnings from President Trump and use it to better the world. Don't expect Bernie Sanders or the federal government to do that. And for the last time, it's not free if we're all paying for it, including you. It's not free. It just gets cringier and cringier as we get to number 4. Washington Post put out a woke article this week saying Trump's racist tweets were written in the White House, which slaves helped build. Nothing says great in activist journalism like telling people in the headline, the White House was built by slaves and that's where Trump is now, so extra racist bad. Orange man bad. The hilariousness ensues when I did a little research on who founded Washington Post, and it's Stilson Hutchins. I wanted to learn a little bit more about Stilson. He was a Democrat with a newspaper. He was the founder and editor of St. Louis Times. Born in New Hampshire, Hutchins had nonetheless been a Southern sympathizer during the war, even naming a son after Robert E. Lee. Of course, liberals nowadays want to tear down every single statue of Robert E. Lee, which makes this extra hilarious, but it gets better.
Rick, I'm 54 years old. I've never thought about those statues a day in my life.
In regards to the founding of Washington Post, its bias was frequently racist, suggesting the city would be better for an immediate exodus of 15,000 or 20,000 of her Negro population. Sexist, a woman should be grateful for the kindly curbs that have been placed upon her. Genocidal, it was only proper, the paper contended, that Indian tribes with habits, customs, and modes of life directly antagonistic to our civilization be swept out of the way to allow the tide of the empire to roll over the continent. Interesting. Where did I learn this about the founder and the founding of the Washington Post, which was a racist Democrat newspaper at the founding? I actually read it on the Washington Post. So the hilarious cringe fail of the Washington Post is that its founders and its founding was all racist Democrat, which is the history they try not to share. This is the first Republican senator who was African American in 1870. This is the first African American Democratic senator in 1993. It almost seems like all this everybody else is racist is either some sort of projection tactic or overcompensation for 100 years of slavery and racism, that if you look at their core values today, which is don't judge people by the content of their character and solely place them in a hierarchical scale based on the color of their skin, not much has changed. Not much has changed. Not much changed. But they control the media so they can constantly lie and blame others for everything that they're doing. But yes, Trump is in the White House, so you were right about that. Think it can't get more ridiculous and embarrassing for our beautiful country? Think again. We got 3 for 3. I got 3 different stories. Let's rapid fire. AP News. Kamala Harris blasts and take money from Epstein's law firm. Nice. This brilliant independent piece, Why Megan Rapinoe is 21st Century America's Muhammad Ali. I wonder why people don't support your newspapers anymore. I can't figure it out. And Planned Parenthood president seems to have been fired from some sort of secret meeting, according to her own Twitter, and some blue checkmark sources are saying that she refused to use trans-inclusive language, for example, saying people instead of women, so she may have been fired for not saying that men can have abortions. Oh my goodness. But don't take my word for it. These are all sources and the story's still developing, unlike pregnant people who get anywhere near these women. Number 2 is an interesting story surrounding Ice Bae, who is apparently a beautiful ICE agent who was photographed at the border. She since went on to upload some social media posts on Twitter, and it's received a lot of love, mostly from conservatives just to be honest, and a lot of hate, obviously from liberals. The biggest fail comes from this domestic terrorist who went with explosives to an ICE facility only to get shot and killed because you can't go to a government facility with explosions. Most people know that. Not Sean King. He allegedly said stuff like this, pretty much praising the guy, suggesting that other people should do it, but since deleted the tweets because he probably realized that they were illegal and violated the terms of service on every social platform. So why are people being radicalized to think that mostly Hispanics, the people that they claim to care so much about, are mostly United States ICE agents? Why do they think that they're concentration camps?
But the United States is running concentration camps on our southern border. And that is exactly what they are. They are concentration camps.
Seems like a bit of exaggeration for people who are coming towards the border. In record numbers, as opposed to being trapped somewhere, a recent Washington Post poll said that most Mexicans don't like illegal migrants either crossing through their country to go to the United States. I'm hoping to see MSNBC, CNN, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and all of these woke American activists to go down to Mexico and tell Mexicans that they're racist against Mexicans or South Americans. That would be quite the sight in clown world. Let's check in with Ilhan Omar on why these are concentration camps.
Hi, could I get a moment of your time? Could you tell me, do you agree with AOC that ICE is running concentration camps on the border?
There are camps and people are being concentrated. This is very simple. I don't even know why this is a controversial thing for her to say. There are camps and people are being concentrated. This is very simple. I don't even know why this is a controversial thing for her to say.
Right, so anybody who concentrates at a camp makes it a concentration camp. I guess every single summer study camp is a concentration camp. The hypocrisy and delusion just gets too much to keep up with. So here's Ice Bae to make you feel a little bit better about it.
Good evening, you guys.
I also want to point out these reports that say most of the kids coming towards the border are not with their parent. 1/3 of them are allegedly faking parental rights. And one of the biggest crises at the border is human and sex child trafficking, in which as much as 80% of the young women and girls coming are getting raped. So the separation was intended to stop rape and child trafficking, but now since people are so hysterical, all you really need is a picture of a crying kid, and people will believe anything. It's pretty sad. They'll even support human and child traffickers if their favorite celebrity posts a picture of it and says, feel bad about this. All I'm asking for is try to really understand the whole situation going on, understand that even Mexicans themselves don't support illegal immigration on the whole, and luckily we have people like Ice Bae who serve our country, try to keep it safe and try to save lives, as opposed to the privileged, hysterical losers who try to tear everything down and ruin what's left of a great country.
I'm a very respectful person. I'm a very kind person. I don't let the negativity get to me. Even in this day and age with social media, it's crazy. You have people attacking you from everywhere, and somehow still I just don't let it. It doesn't faze me.
The first and most ridiculous clown show comes from this week when a bunch of Democrats got together and tried to say that Trump was racist, so they have a racist condemnation, because that's what they do in House and Senate. They don't lower your taxes. They don't stop homelessness. They don't work together in a bipartisan fashion to really make America better. They pass condemnation bills to say that that person's racist in a big bill. Whoa, that's really gonna solve. It's ridiculous. But the twist to this is you can't just blame Democrats for this. Just a few months ago, it was Republicans who were so afraid of Ilhan Omar saying it's all about the Benjamins and suggesting that foreign lobbyist groups could could possibly be financially incentivizing politicians. Oh my goodness, she said it's all about the Benjamins. So Republicans overnight turned into big snowflakes and tried to do the same thing with Senator Ted Cruz's help. They passed this resolution, which ended up being a total SJW fail of a resolution. And now you have a lot of Republicans saying, this is ridiculous. I'm Dan Crenshaw and this is very insane. But just a few months ago, Dan Crenshaw, instead of saying, of course I voted this down, said, of course I voted for this. This needs to be done. We need to condemn anti-Semitism and racism. How dare, she says, that foreign lobbyists and foreign influences could possibly be influencing politicians? I mean, it's not like one of Donald Trump's biggest donors broke records donating so much, got a Presidential Medal of Freedom in the family, and absolutely has a major interest in Israel. But relax, guys, don't worry. Free speech is only cool to fight for if it's against the left wing. If it's the right wing that's anti-free speech, like Ron DeSantis passing this bill, the first one ever signed on foreign soil in history, which is very, 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 very broad, and of course will be used against you eventually. Welcome to the circus. Democrats, Republicans, everybody's racist who disagrees with me or wants to have a conversation. Let's pass condemnation bills and actual anti-free speech bills to stop it. This tweet really encapsulates it from Scott Adams. You're racist, you're racist, you're racist, racist people, racist country, racist, racist. It's hashtag golden age. Yikes. And if right-wingers don't think that it's not going to get used against them because they're so not anti-Semitic, let's take Ben Garrison for an example. It was just months ago that he was condemning the anti-Semitic New York Times for their anti-Semitic cartoon. So this is a right-wing pro-free speech cartoonist who, of course, if it was a Muslim, would say, oh my God, of course I could draw the prophet in a cartoon. Come on, this is America. But Netanyahu cartoons with Trump, yeah, that's anti-Semitic for sure. I mean, come on. Just a few months later, he was disinvited after being invited to the White House. Couldn't go. How come? The media framed him as an anti-Semitic cartoonist, even though, of course, he isn't at all. Unfortunately, that's right-wing karma for being total hypocrites when it comes to free speech. Because when you have these broad terms and you abuse the words racist, like most of the media and celebrities have done, if you abuse the word sexist, if you abuse the word xenophobic, if you abuse the word anti-Semitic, which everybody does, which with all those words, everybody's abusing them, and they're also words that you can't really define. Hate speech, what is it? Somebody who hates the truth could think that the truth is hate speech. I mean, we shouldn't be passing legislation and condemnations on such a broad spectrum of no one knows what you're talking about in a way too sensitive society. Like many viral posts have said, we're the generation that grew up on South Park and Chappelle Show, and this is how we're acting now. We're all so much in our feelings. Welcome to Clown World, and that is number 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Apparently in Clown World, words matter more than actions, actions matter less than words, and the old phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, is now apparently substituted for, sticks and stones can break millions of people's bones, cause a refugee crisis, and have your taxpayer dollars funding two sides of the same war. But we're gonna ignore that because my feelings and words hurt really, really bad, and it's worse than that. Big yikes. Hopefully you liked this video. Stay tuned for more stuff. Follow me on Instagram at DreamRare, Twitter at Legendary Energy, support on Patreon or all those other websites I'm losing track, and have a good day. I'll be back with more Clown World hysteria.